Oh, hey, hi, hello, Will.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, great. Do we have news to talk about today? Has anything happened?
Not really. Well, see you guys later.
All right, good episode.
This is the first podcast that is only a YouTube short.
Yeah, and we're not even up to a minute yet.
Nope. You are looking a little more masculine this week. That beard hair coming back in.
The 5 o'clock shadow.
Yeah.
Yeah, the shadow is supposed to come by 5 o'clock the day after you shave, but it turns out it takes about 5 days. In fact.
No, it's supposed to come the day you shave.
Yeah, I know. They say it because you shave in the morning, and then by 5 o'clock.
You said day after, but.
Oh, okay.
I remember being like 13 or 14 and kind of just like starting to I should have started shaving at 12, my upper lip. I had to be bullied by my friends into making fun of my mustache to realize I should shave it. But I remember my dad telling me he shaved every day, and I was like, there's no way that's true.
It's just a lot of work.
Yeah, I shave every morning. I'm like, no way. And yeah, now it's my neck beard. If it goes longer than a day, it just starts to get gross, and it hurts the longer it gets to shave off.
Yeah, true. The neck is where you really do have to be pretty vigilant. Yeah.
It is. So many directions that hair grows as well.
Oh, yeah. You're going every which way. I remember like one of my first experiences shaving, and I cut my lip and it bled so much.
Wow. Yeah, that's rough. I've never done that.
Yeah. I mean, I must have been 13.
Yeah.
It's like one of those times where shaving wasn't really necessary, but I think I was trying to impress a girl or something, and kind of a little bit backfired. Yeah, you could say.
Yeah, that's funny.
How do we segue out of this? Good Lord.
You know what went in a lot of directions this year? Not just our neck hair, but the Denver Broncos football organization.
Well done.
Boom. We are in the middle of the coaching search. We got not info, but we know what coaching interviews have happened and which ones are going to happen. A lot of speculation. Harbaugh's out. So we'll talk about that. We'll we'll pick our games too. Might as well.
Yeah.
And don't forget to check out benchwarmerbrew.com. 2 things there. We dropped the Loser's Blend of coffee, which is, if you're not a fucking loser, don't even think about buying it. Okay.
Losers only.
It's only for losers. It's a medium dark roast. Is really good coffee. We'll be launching another blend in about 2 weeks with another YouTuber.
Oh, I know who that is.
And we officially partnered my Benchwarmer page with my Alzheimer's fundraising campaign. So we were partnered with a different charity before where we donated 1% of every order. And now we're doing it to the Alzheimer's Association and my page there, which is really freaking cool. So anytime you complete an order, we make small donation. And yeah, that's it. And don't forget to check out Will's YouTube channel. Will Sucks at Games. You behind on videos, Will? Did you post last week?
Video in the works.
All right.
Good. Yeah. Involving a special game from the mid-2000s that people have been asking for a while. So
Ooh.
I saw a drop in views, and I said, you know what? I'm just going to do exactly what the people asked me for.
Damn right.
It's no longer time to trust my own instincts.
No. If you and I have learned anything, it's don't trust ourselves.
Examine what we think is best, and then do the exact opposite.
We're George Costanza. We are the George Costanza of football YouTubers.
We keep going longer. Everybody wants shorts.
Yeah. And I want to be a Kramer. I want to be a Kramer. On camera, not off camera, guys.
Well, he was on camera when that happened.
You're right.
He just didn't know that there was a camera.
Scripted Kramer.
Yeah, if you let Kramer get off the script, he's gonna have to go on Letterman and apologize very shortly.
Yeah. Oh man. Anyway, sticking to the script we loosely have.
The Laugh Factory.
Okay, so Jim Harbaugh is going back to Michigan.
Yep.
Kind of felt like it was 50-50 that way, where no, it felt like there was a good chance he was using his NFL I don't know, interest to probably get more money.
Yeah, and I suppose he did that last year too, to some extent.
Did he get a new contract last year?
No, I think he just kind of flirted with the NFL. I don't think he had any like actual interviews, but yeah. So what I asked here is, did we get played a little bit? Were we taken advantage of? Should we be angry? Is Michigan now our least favorite college football team?
Oh yeah,
etc.
Fuck the Wolverines.
Is this now an Ohio State podcast?
No, it's I mean, yes, and CU Buffs adjacent, because Deion Sanders is going to destroy Michigan in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think that is well. Yeah, I mean, so Michigan lost to TCU in the playoffs.
Sad, pathetic.
Then lost by 58.
Yeah,
to Georgia. So
yeah, consider us lucky not having Jim Harbaugh getting the Broncos to the playoffs only so they could lose by 50 to the Chiefs.
Yeah, exactly.
No, to the Chargers. It would be like losing by 50 to the Chargers and not getting a comeback, because he lost to the team that lost by 50. So,
right,
he couldn't even get to the Chiefs game. Sad. What a sad coach.
He sucks. He's never been good. I never wanted him, to be honest.
Yeah. No, please do not watch the last couple episodes of this podcast.
Nope.
If you thought Jim Harbaugh would be good.
Just take our word for it.
Yeah.
He sucks. He'll always suck. He picked the wrong quarterback in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Okay, but Harbaugh out.
Yeah.
It feels like the stock for another prominent head coach is going up.
Demeco Ryans.
Demeco freaking Ryans. No, I like him too, but Sean Payton.
Sean Payton Manning. Sean Payton Manning.
Sean George Payton Manning.
Yes.
You can't go wrong with another Payton. So he was on Colin Cowherd's television program, and I think the cool thing about Sean Payton being in the media while he's interviewing is that he's been like pretty transparent about the process, not going into like a ton of details. It's not a tell-all. It's not a Prince Harry kind of revelation going on, but he does kind of walk you through what's happening, who he's interviewing with, which is kind of a rare look at the goings on. But so he was on Cowherd. Cowherd asked about Denver, and Cowherd's like, well, they don't have a first round pick. Sean Payton says, ooh, but they do. But they do. I think so that was kind of telling you he knows what's up.
What you would
should know. He should know.
You would want your coach to be good, detail oriented, right?
Right. The fact that he did correct him too, which that must feel good, correcting Colin Cowherd to his face.
Yeah, on
his own show. So they interviewed Sean Payton. Denver went to Los Angeles. They did not have Payton come, so they couldn't go to that Mexican restaurant where they sealed the deal with Nate Hackett.
Los Dos, baby.
Los Dos. They went to an LA hotel. According to Pete Schrager, the interview lasted several hours. They couldn't agree to a deal there, I think, per the NFL rules.
Yeah, you got to finish your other interviews.
Yeah. So Sean Payton is meeting in New York with the Carolina Panthers at the end of this week. The thing about that is I'm confused as to why the Saints would agree to do that with the Panthers. Unless the Panthers give up like a really, really good pick.
They would. I feel like they would have to give up a lot more than that too. Like,
yeah,
they'd have to rake them over the coals for picks.
I agree.
And possible players, like
I don't think you can't trade players for a coach.
No players, just picks and money.
Just picks, cash, because vending machines.
The Saints need picks. I mean, would the Panthers give up their 9th overall draft pick to the Saints?
I think they would have to. Yeah, that's their only pick in the first round, I believe. Unless the
Saints lack picks. They're in salary cap hell. They don't have a quarterback.
You're not getting a quarterback at 9, though. Unless no, you're not getting one because they're not going to trade up out of that.
Maybe they would trade that for more picks. I don't know exactly what they would do. But you're trading the coach in division. That's stupid.
Yeah.
Unless
it's dumb.
Unless you don't think he's that good.
Yeah, which I would have a hard time believing because he is good. Last time we saw him.
It would be stupid. It would be very stupid to do it. Maybe they're allowing the Panthers to talk to Sean Payton out of courtesy to Sean Payton. The Panthers are probably the only team that can compete with Denver in terms of how much money they could pay him.
Tepper is very, very well off.
Yeah, there's
to say the least.
2 billionaires, the 2 richest billionaires getting in a pissing match over your services. That's a good thing for Sean Payton. Maybe it's just leverage for him to get more out of the Broncos deal. What I liked about him, listening to some of his interviews, is he does just appear very confident, but not in like a egotistical way, but just like a guy who's done it for a long time. I do like the way he talks about football. I thought it was interesting listening to him talk about the Dolphins and their clock management situation. And how you used to be able to ask for measurements, and now like the NFL doesn't want to give you measurements, which is probably an effort to speed up the game a little bit. But
after a 4-hour game in Buffalo,
after that nightmare. But the amount of people who still don't understand that the Broncos have a first-round draft pick is baffling. Yeah, I got to correct somebody on Twitter every day saying, "With what pick, idiot?" Like, hey, guys, do you think I might know what draft picks the team I follow very, very closely has?
It's the same people that think John Elway is still the general manager.
Yes.
John Elway traded for Russell Wilson. He gave up our first-round pick for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
And
John Elway,
Daniel Hackett.
John Elway shouldn't be considered a good GM because John Elway didn't even draft John Elway.
But did John Elway kind of trade John Elway?
No, that was somebody else.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
John Elway tried to trade John Elway to Washington. Was that who Dan Reeves was talking to for to trade John Elway? Was to Washington?
I think you might be right. Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Reeves wanted to trade Elway.
Imagine if we had traded Elway and gone with Tommy Maddox.
Dude, that just shows you how like fucking stupid coaches and can be. Like their egos are so like
they're ridiculous.
It's like the Ravens right now. I hope to God Lamar leaves the Ravens.
It's so
just
bizarre.
To taint another Harbaugh for show both Harbaughs are idiots.
I'm anti Jim, anti John, anti Jack Harbaugh, their dad.
Oh, he's the worst.
I would almost go as far as saying I'm anti Tom Crean, who is the basketball coach, the college basketball coach, who's their brother-in-law. But I respect Tom Crean and love him too much. I mean, the Lamar thing is just bizarre. you had on one hand like Michael Vick saying, put a brace on it, go out there and play. Then you had RG3 on ESPN saying, speaking from firsthand experience, like, don't play. I think where I come down on that is, and this, like, obviously at this point, like, you shouldn't play. It is not in your best interest. You could get hurt worse if, what we're hearing about the injury is correct. But he shouldn't be in this situation. He should just have an agent and make a deal. Like, you shouldn't be waiting for a contract in the last game of your 5th year when you're a former MVP. That should have been wrapped up by now. Like, long before this. The fact that he's in this situation is totally baffling to me. Like, because if he had a contract, then maybe he would think about playing. I don't know. You don't know.
Yeah, if like you're guaranteed against injury, it's hard because his style of play is your knee is pretty important there. So
I would agree.
If you're a pocket passing QB and you got a sprained knee, probably doesn't matter. Like, we saw Rivers play through a torn ACL.
Yeah, there's no difference. Play through literally no difference.
Yeah. But if a lot of your success depends on the threat of you evading pressure, of you cranking out runs, and you're not comfortable cutting or running on that knee, then, like, we've seen when guys are injured and they try to play through it and they're worse. They're actually doing a disservice to the team because they're not as effective.
Yeah.
And, maybe that's where Lamar was with the knee. The fact that, like, there's just so much mystery around it, and that the Ravens, like, it seemed like John Harbaugh didn't know the extent of the injury.
And you didn't travel with the team?
Yeah. And
to a playoff
so, like,
game?
all of that's weird. But again, I hope it means he leaves. I hope the Ravens were the one team smart enough to draft Lamar Jackson and also the one team dumb enough to let him go. And I hope wherever he goes, he lights it up again.
Where would he go, do you think?
I would like to see him with the Jets, honestly.
The Jets would be that would be quite the coup for the Jets. Atlanta would be, I think Arthur Smith would dial up a pretty good offense with Jackson.
I like that fit.
I think he would really, like, get the most out of Kyle Pitts down there too. Just his connection with tight ends is pretty on point. But as like a fan of just like off-season drama and movement, then totally. Also, I don't really like the Ravens,
No, they're such a boring franchise.
They're boring. They've done bad things to us in the playoffs.
Yep.
Their
move to Baltimore was one of the biggest FUs to an entire city we've ever seen. Yeah. More so than St. Louis leaving. You know what I mean? Like, at least the writing was on the wall there.
Yeah. Just boring ass Super Bowl.
Yeah.
The first one. Second one was a little bit better.
Maybe the two most boring quarterbacks to win Super Bowls, Flacco and Dilfer.
Definitely. Flacco is pretty exciting.
That stretch, but his whole career pretty boring.
They traded us Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
That was
a dick move.
That may be a bad move by general manager John Elway. John Elway.
No. I mean, he was the GM.
Yeah.
He was forced to do that by Joe Ellis, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. I think with the 49ers, like, looking so good too, like, we've gotten this resurgence of why the hell didn't we hire Kyle Shanahan?
God, yeah.
And I just don't have anything to add there.
Yeah.
It's correct. We should have.
That was Joe. No, that was Joe
That
Ellis.
was Joe Ellis, yeah.
That was bitter ass, ego in the way, Joe Ellis. Power hungry, power tripping Joe Ellis. Idiot.
We could literally have any quarterback and we'd be in the playoffs.
We could have he would have Chad Kelly would have won a Super Bowl for the Broncos if
probably, was
their coach.
He would have drafted him too.
It is crazy. Both Chad Kelly and Brock Purdy, both Mr. Irrelevance, both come in career years. One in Canada, one here. I don't know.
Do we have any other head coaching candidates we want to touch on?
Well, we got Demeco Ryans are going to interview on Thursday, and then Dan Quinn on Friday. And to me, it feels like if Sean Payton doesn't take the job, I believe it will be offered to him. But if he doesn't take the job, Dan Quinn's going to get it. But I hope Demeco Ryans can blow him away. I honestly feel like he might be the right guy out of Sean Payton and Dan Quinn. Do
you think he retains Evero if that's the case?
I don't know.
And Evero doesn't get a job somewhere else because he's interviewing.
Yeah, he's interviewing. I feel like Evero might stick around to coach with Demeco Ryans. And
I think he would, yeah.
I think I say that because and I mentioned it when on GPS, but I was reading through this Athletic article talking about how guys just love Demeco Ryans.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of that too.
Like the coaches, former players, the guys he's been around, and I think when you get a reputation like that, people just know around the league. And I think Evero would want to be part of that, because it seems like if anybody else comes in, I don't know. Obviously, I guess it depends on if he gets a head coaching gig, right? Obviously, but would Sean Payton want Evero? Because I feel like Evero would stick around for Sean Payton. He would stick around for Demeco Ryans. Don't know about Dan Quinn.
Yeah, it sounds like Vic Fangio is interviewing in Atlanta right now.
And he interviewed in Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, that leads me to believe that they're not quite as linked as we thought, Payton and Fangio. I would certainly accept Mr. Fangio back. But, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think Ryans is like kind of a dark horse for Houston, too. That's where he played. So you drafted him. I think he'd be like a sort of a Christ-like figure in that area.
Yeah, he already knows the level of dysfunction they operate at. So
yeah, it's either like I know how to do things here, or I want no part of that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I don't know, man. It's because I think like the thing with Dan Quinn, if they're going to interview him again, like he's got to have a very, very good shot at getting the job.
Yeah, that'd be really sad.
He already got turned down once.
Do it twice.
Yeah.
But he did. So he's interviewing also in Indy, which goes against the narrative that he only wants the Broncos job, which was kind of reported earlier.
Right. Well, that was a thing last year because he declined more interviews and decided to go back to Dallas, right?
Yeah. Yeah, which, I guess he sees the situation in India as like favorable enough. I'm with Quinn. I think he's a great defensive coordinator, and we saw that play out very clearly on Monday night. But I just can't shake like I know he went to the playoffs the year after Kyle Shanahan left, and they won a game too, and were actually pretty close against the Eagles. But I don't like his history without Shanahan in the building.
Yeah,
He's got a sub 500 winning percentage without the best offensive play caller of the 21st century.
Yeah, and so I think his success, and even Demeco Ryans' success, is probably going to be attached to what offensive coordinator they bring in with them.
Yeah, and two, like to that point, you look at all the 8 remaining teams: Andy Reid, Mike McCarthy, Doug Peterson, Sean McDermott. All the coaches on the NFC side too. I don't need to list them all, but offensive guys.
Yeah.
Mostly, if not all, right? Is McDermott offensive?
Nick Sirianni, you got Shanahan, Nick Sirianni. Dable.
And, of course, the other guy, the other team. Who the hell's playing in the playoffs? Mike McCarthy. Yeah, Mike McCarthy.
Yeah. It was a stumper because it's the Cowboys, and we're talking about Dan Quinn.
Okay, let me rephrase that. 7 out of 8 because Sean McDermott is a defensive guy.
Right. He was Carolina's defensive coordinator before he went over to Buffalo. So
yeah, but he has Josh Allen. So
yeah, he has Josh Allen, and even Josh Allen in that Bills offense, not quite as good without Brian Dable.
No, it's a
I would say
different offense.
And I think Ken Dorsey's good, but I think like it takes those guys also some time to develop and figure things out as well. And Dable was never a shot for the Broncos. He did not want to come out west. I know people are like, you should have hired Dable. It's like, he wasn't really an option.
Yeah. Do you think like every job opening like has all the leverage in terms of candidates? It's just not how it works.
No.
People need to remember that candidates also have like agency in this process.
Right. And, Doug Peterson's another one.
Yeah, I don't think he was. I don't know. I don't know on that one.
Doug Peterson, it seemed like nobody was really interested in Doug Peterson. Wasn't just the Broncos.
Just silly.
The Jags, nobody wanted really to take the Jacksonville job, and the Texans literally couldn't find somebody to take the job, which is why they were forced to go back and basically elevate Lovie Smith.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
and I think the Dolphins had problems too. That's why they got Mike McDaniel. Like the Dolphins had problems because they fired Brian Flores. Nobody wanted that gig because of the ownership. Jacksonville has historically just been bad.
Right.
And those two places ended up with maybe two of the best of the group, but also Doug Peterson went to a place where they had the number 1 overall pick at quarterback. So, like if your specialty is offense and developing QBs, and you got the guy who is everybody thought was the best pick in that draft, then and the bar was set really low.
If you turn Carson Wentz into an MVP prior to his injury, you might be good at developing quarterbacks. If you won a Super Bowl with Nick Foles, probably pretty good at developing quarterbacks.
Exactly. So, we talked about it. Sometimes it's all right to not get the number 1 guy. And that's why, like, if the Broncos don't get Sean Payton, I'm not going to lose my shit. If they don't get Sean Payton, but they, I don't know, settle for Dan Quinn, I'll feel just kind of like, Yeah.
You could do worse.
But and I think, like week 6, we were like, dang, we probably should have went with Dan Quinn. Probably should have hired Dan Quinn, and
I mean,
be a little bit better. But
that also shouldn't be like the
bar
test. Is he better than Nathaniel Hackett? Obviously, that goes without saying. But I think it does. That's a good point. That you don't need to like take the big swing necessarily. There's a lot of good candidates every year. I think there are more good coaches than bad coaches.
Yeah.
I would prefer an offensive guy too.
Yeah, I would too. Here's what gets tricky though right now is the Chargers are keeping Brandon Staley, and we thought if Sean Payton were going to go somewhere else, maybe Carolina, but the Chargers seem kind of like a front runner in terms of what might be interesting to Payton, like going to Coach Herbert. But now they have a vacant offensive coordinator position, which to me that's competition for who the Broncos could possibly get to be their OC, right?
Right.
Like right now, if you're
Chargers offensive coordinator Sean Payton.
Not for Sean Payton, but other possible candidates. That might be a place where you lose out, even if you have Sean Payton.
Frank Reich.
You don't need
makes
one.
Sense.
Frank Reich. Yeah, that's why I texted my buddy John. I was like, "You guys just need to hire Frank Reich." Like,
well, he was the offensive coordinator there.
Was he?
Yeah, before he was in Philly, I believe he was the Chargers OC. Is that
maybe a reason Rivers went to Indy to be with Frank Reich again?
I would imagine, yeah. That was a big deal. I don't know why we haven't shown any interest in him.
That's weird.
He's a good head coach. I think we saw that. Like obviously the drop off from Frank Reich to Jeff Saturday is pretty huge, but they did fall off a cliff when they got rid of Frank Reich.
Yeah, no, they did.
They sucked.
They were bad.
And they didn't suck as bad with Frank Reich.
No, Frank Reich as your OC would be nice. But it doesn't seem like the Broncos have interest in that.
Of course.
If it was Dan Quinn and Frank Reich and Evero somehow, would you feel good?
Yeah, I would.
That's a lot of experience.
Again, like you think about, so if your head coach isn't an offensive guy and you have a good offense, the likelihood that your OC is going to get poached to become a head coach is pretty good.
Yeah.
Especially if someone turned around our offense from last year into a competent looking one.
Yeah. If Russell Wilson has a really good season, that OC fucking gone. That OC gone.
Right. Yeah. Like that's no question. That is like, okay, this guy knows how to do a reclamation project. Let's get him in the building.
Here's a question.
Yeah, that would be good for a year, I think. 2.
You watch the Manningcasts when you do Monday Night Football at all?
I didn't for the playoffs. I do during the regular season.
All right. Everybody's like, hey, what if Peyton Manning was the offensive coordinator, right?
Yeah.
Not everybody, but it's like, man, Peyton Manning as offensive coordinator, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Hot take. I think Eli Manning would be a better offensive coordinator than Peyton.
Would you
based only on the Manningcasts?
Okay.
What do you think? When you're watching those things, Eli seems like the one who's talking more about the situational football. He's the guy asking like, hey, what would you do here? You think about doing this? You think about doing that? And then Peyton's always like, I think Peyton's like, I would have just scored a fucking touchdown 3 plays ago in his head.
Yeah, I think so. The thing with Peyton Manning that always kind of, I think he would be a good coach, but like the limitation there is he's so smart and so brilliant that I'm not sure he would. I have no evidence that he could dumb it down for other people.
I think Eli's went through enough like struggles in his career. I think he would be a better coach and a better play caller. Honestly.
Yeah. I think Manning would be like, he'd just like talk for 10 minutes without stopping and be like, you got all that, right?
Yeah.
Whereas
Peyton,
Eli might ask some questions and make sure you're listening and
Eli would be like, what did you see here? What did you see here? Why'd you make this throw? Peyton be like, why the fuck did you make that throw?
Yeah.
Like, that would be the difference in their coaching style.
Snap the damn ball.
And I think like Peyton would he'd be the guy where he calls in the offensive play and then he sees what the defense changes to, but it's too late to click into your quarterback. And he would just get so furious every time that the quarterback doesn't adjust after he sees what the defense presents. That
he would be a Sean McVay, like in Jared Goff's ear kind of guy.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
He would like lobby the rules committee to the point where you can keep the radio on like during the play.
Yeah. Cut left.
Any chance they draft Arch if that happens though?
Oof. Give it to us.
And we don't know if Arch
What's he got to play at least 3 more years of college ball?
Yeah. Yeah. He lost his student ID twice already in his first week in campus. Wow. It's fumbling.
Seems like a perfect fit for Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah.
because he lost his backpack at the Super Bowl with
That's
this
right.
book in it. Remember?
That's right.
Wow.
Classic Patriots.
Yeah. So we don't know.
Yeah.
But
What's up?
so we don't know who's the coaching. We've gotten. I feel like this is the least amount of like real news we've received about the coaching search of all the recent coaching searches.
Yeah, and we've experienced quite a few.
Yeah.
I think that this regime is a little more tight-lipped as far as everything goes, which isn't a bad thing.
Elway's like, I'm giving it to Fangio.
Yeah, Elway was like, he'd telegraph his decision making on head coaches. We kind of just like he just knew what he wanted.
He never looked off the safety as a GM.
Pretty much, yeah. The safety being the media.
That's right. The Ed Reeds just lurking.
Do you think it's time for a new logo for us? Black and white, perhaps? Use the skyline.
Yeah, Denver skyline. Little squiggle at the top, maybe, as the mountains. Just a white line as the mountains.
Yeah. Or we do white logo with black lines. Ooh. So you can't get sued because you're reversing the colors.
What if it's just black and gray and the logo is a pirate with an eye patch?
Huh. Yeah, you might be onto something because we are kind of like our own pirate ship here.
Yeah. It's a pirate with an eye patch.
For advertisers. Yeah.
Yeah. Pirate with an eye patch in front of Native American artifact.
Yes. I like that.
Whose choice of God is the god of thunder and lightning.
Thor.
Yeah.
Thor is the god of thunder.
So a pirate with an eye patch in front of an arrowhead with a bolt of lightning in its hand.
Yeah. I can't think of any logos like that, though.
No, me neither.
We need something to draw inspiration from.
Yeah.
That's interesting, though. Yeah, I like that. Legally, I think we're in the clear if we do that.
Oh, easy. All right, let's pick these playoff games real quick, Will. We got Jags, Chiefs, Saturday.
Yep.
First game. Trevor Lawrence, can he stay undefeated on Saturday?
That's a good question. I don't think it's going to happen, though. I think they'll give him a decent fight, but I thought Jacksonville, like, a lot of things had to go right for Jacksonville in that first game for them to lose by, like, 10. And I don't – well, okay, so I will say, and I said this in the power rankings yesterday, but I was impressed that Doug Peterson didn't, like, totally abandon the run.
Yeah.
He kept giving the ball to Travis Etienne, including on the biggest play of the game, that 4th-and-1 sweep. Against the Chiefs earlier in the season, I think he kind of panicked and there was no balance. I think having that sort of like experience, like we just came back from 27. We didn't lose our minds. We didn't just throw the ball every play. If they keep a little bit of balance and run the ball against the Chiefs, which you can do, I think he can stay. You can stay in the game. I still think the Chiefs are going to win, though.
Yeah, and I think the craziest thing about that Jaguars comeback was they did it without forcing a single turnover.
Yeah, that like those comebacks never happen without turnovers. Like remember when we came back 24 down against the Chargers, involved
Chris Harris pick six?
Chris Harris pick six, Tony Carter scoop and score, a couple more interceptions.
Yeah.
Rivers threw like 4 picks in that game and fumbled.
He reversed Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
So,
and I think Lawrence got all of his playoff interceptions out of the way in that first half, which was a good move by him.
Yes. I said I hope he finishes as Super Bowl champion, but by throwing more picks than he did in the regular season. I want him to throw 4 picks every game and still win every game. That would be the craziest thing ever.
Yeah, no, he
Ever.
went full Jameis Winston
Yeah.
against the Chargers, which makes for a very entertaining game. Justin Herbert was just like, oh, I'm going to throw one touchdown. I'm not going to turn the ball over. I'm going to throw it sidearm and then miss Keenan Allen wide open in the end zone, but no one's going to blame me because it's never my fault. Trevor Lawrence was like, fuck it. I'll throw some picks. Cool. I'll get down a little bit. I'll start throwing touchdowns.
Yeah.
I'll just reach the ball over. I'll reach the ball over from the 1 yard line. It won't even be a quarterback sneak. I'm just tall enough to do that.
Yeah. He could upset the Chiefs. I think how the game's officiated too is going to be interesting because the Chargers were allowed to be really physical with their secondary.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that really helps either of these teams or hurts them both, but that was a big reason the Chargers got that lead was Asante Samuel was allowed to do whatever he wanted. So I don't know if that trend continues. But yeah, we'll take the Chiefs. I think are going to win that game. Then we got Giants Eagles.
Yeah. I really liked what I saw.
The injury report.
Yes, that's
big.
Pretty important. He's good. I like what I saw of the Giants last week.
Taking the Giants?
It was an impressive victory on the road. Daniel Jones is Daniel Jones the better rushing quarterback in this game?
If I'm Brian Dable and I lose, I make sure I lose with Daniel Jones having more rushing yards and touchdowns than Jalen Hurts. That's all I do.
Yeah. Honestly, like it feels like they had a plan where we're going to use your legs a little bit in the regular season and then playoffs, like, dude, you're running. Like, what are we saving it for if not right now?
Yeah. He did it with Josh. He let Josh Allen do the same thing Dable did. And
it's weird. The Bills have kind of done the opposite.
Yeah.
Josh Allen ran like 4 or 5 times against the Dolphins.
I think they might have been saving that for this week, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, you're never guaranteed, but they should start running it with Josh Allen. It's kind of strange, though, that Dable – not strange, though. Dable comes in. Daniel Jones stops turning the ball over. Dable leaves Buffalo. Josh Allen can't stop turning the ball over. Yeah. So maybe he has something to do with that.
Oh, big time. Big time.
I guess I will take the Birds, though.
Yeah, I think if Jalen Hurts is actually healthy, I think Philly's just an all-around better team. I think their defense is better. I think their offense is better.
Yep.
They can beat you more ways. But shout out for what the Giants have done so far. Then we got Bengals-Bills, probably the game of the week.
Yeah. I got a crazy one. I'm taking the Cincinnati Bengals.
Ooh.
Maybe not so crazy.
No, it's not that crazy, man.
Yeah.
After the way both teams played, they're both beatable, but the Bills seem a little more volatile. So
agreed. I'm
going to take the Bills because I can't not take them.
Right. I expected that. The Bengals in the playoffs their defense has been so good at getting a well-timed turnover.
Yeah.
They were missing one in the Super Bowl. Obviously, they did pick off Stafford a couple times, but that's
like given. You're gonna get a Stafford pick or two.
Yeah,
you got to get 3 or 4 Stafford picks.
Just make sure to catch them when they're thrown directly to you.
Yeah.
Maybe the best time turnover of all time last week against the Ravens.
Oh my God, that was insane! It's one of the craziest plays you'll ever see.
Yeah, I was like, I kind of looked away and then just saw Sam Hubbard running with the ball. I was like, what happened? But that was crazy. Like, so you got a team that's great at forcing turnovers in clutch situations. You got a Buffalo team that's been very sloppy with the football, especially last week. That got the Dolphins back into the game. I like the Bengals here. I thought that win against Baltimore was a little more impressive than what I saw out of Buffalo against Miami.
Yeah, I agree.
I think their offense was not great against Baltimore, but Baltimore is just going to play you tough in the playoffs no matter what. And I think they turn it around a little bit here offensively with Burrow.
Yeah. I'm just going to assume the Bills, they play a little smarter on offense. They have an extra day of rest this week. I think that helps a little. And the game against the Ravens, very physical. Takes its toll on some guys.
Do they have an extra day of rest? They both played Sunday, right?
Did they?
Yeah.
Was it Sunday night? Was Ravens
Sunday? Yeah, they have like a half day rest.
Oh, you're right.
You're
right. Never mind.
Bills game was like 7 hours, so who knows?
Yeah.
Might even out.
All right. I'll take the Bills. You'll take the Bengals. And
Great game, though.
This game could be pretty good, too. Cowboys, 49ers.
Yeah, classic NFC showdown.
Yeah. We had this matchup last year. We obviously remember 14 seconds was the difference.
The
Jimmy
49ers,
G was the QB in that game, though.
They've upgraded a quarterback since that wild card game.
They have.
Like, not even saying that facetiously.
We're about to drop a Brock Purdy episode today.
Yeah, get ready, folks. I'm taking the 49ers.
Yeah, I'm going to take the 49ers too, but I don't feel as confident about it as I did 2 days ago. 3 days ago.
Because of how the Cowboys played?
Yeah, I thought they would beat the Buccaneers, but their offense was, outside of kicking, was pretty damn perfect against a decent defense. And I think they can score some points in this game, but like we saw I think it's going to be a lot like the Seahawks game. I think it'll be a good, solid, close first half, and then the 49ers are inevitable, and they're just going to pull away. There's just too many guys to defend. And unlike the Buccaneers, the 49ers actually have a quarterback who can get the football to his playmakers.
Yeah. And I think we talked about this earlier in the podcast too, like Dan Quinn and Kyle Shanahan. That's just an interesting little matchup there. Two guys that know each other pretty well. It resulted in quite the hotly contested battle last year. I think we don't really bring up enough like how that game ended, but just one of the worst clock management decisions of all time, whether it was on McCarthy or Dak for not sliding early enough. But that was just strange. This is a better 49ers team though. Yeah. I'm taking the 49ers, and I think they win by like 10.
All right. So the only game we're different on is Bills-Bengals, which I think is the toughest game for both teams this week.
Yeah, this feels like an AFC championship game in the divisional round.
Yeah. It feels like the only game where one team really does not have an advantage over the other team.
No, and it's interesting too, because we're going to see very quickly, like they almost played 3 weeks ago, or however long it's been, and that was one of the most anticipated games of the regular season, probably the most.
Yeah.
We obviously didn't get to see it play out aside from a 7-0 start from Cincinnati. This will answer a lot of questions.
It's gonna be a fun game. I'm gonna live stream it with Tom, and we'll see what happens.
I'm looking. It's a great week of football.
Yeah.
How could it not be though?
4 football games. It's the perfect amount over 2 days, and I'm excited. I feel like all the right teams advanced. Like the better teams.
Totally agree. We got good games in the wild card round.
Yeah.
But we're not like, the Chiefs aren't going to get to play like Tyler Huntley in the AFC title game or anything like that.
Right. Yeah.
It's not like 2019 where they just cakewalked.
No. They got to play they
play the Jacksonville Jaguars this week.
Yeah, they're playing the Jags, and we're happy it's not the Chargers.
Yeah. God damn.
Yeah. What a weird. Football's weird. That's why I love it.
It's the best sport there is.
All righty. Well, we're going to get out of here. We'll be back next week, hopefully talking about which coach the Broncos have hired.
Good luck.
John Elway played his entire career without an ACL.